You looked at someone you've known for years, and something was different. Not their face, not their clothes, something underneath. Like they had quietly stepped out of a version of themselves you thought was permanent. And maybe that someone was you. Maybe you remember the exact moment you realized you couldn't keep pretending a part of your life still fit. But nobody warned you it would happen like that. Quietly, then all at once. So, what actually happens inside a person right before they change? People talk about change like it's a decision, like someone woke up one Tuesday and simply chose to be different. But that's not what it feels like from the inside. From the inside, it feels like exhaustion first, a kind of low grade tiredness that isn't about sleep. It's about repetition, about saying the same things, reacting the same ways, explaining yourself with the same words, and feeling nothing land. You might have noticed it in small moments. The conversation you kept having with someone that never went anywhere. The version of yourself you performed at work, at family dinners, in your own head, that slowly started to feel like a costume. And here's where it gets psychologically interesting. Most people experiencing this don't name it as growth. They name it as confusion. Or worse, as something being wrong with them. They think, why can't I just be consistent? Why do I feel like a different person depending on the room I walk into? But that internal friction isn't a flaw, it's a signal. Here's what the research actually tells us. The psychologist Dan McAdams spent decades studying how people build identity. His work shows that the self isn't a fixed object, it's a narrative, a story we're constantly editing. And stories, by nature, have turning points. When your behavior starts to feel misaligned with your internal experience, when who you are starts to contradict who you're being, the psyche doesn't just tolerate that gap indefinitely. It pushes back. What feels like confusion or restlessness is actually your narrative self flagging a continuity error. You're not falling apart. You're in the middle of a revision. To understand why change happens so suddenly, you have to understand something called cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger introduced this in the 1950s, but its implications go much deeper than most people realize. When your beliefs and your actions stop matching, the brain experiences it as genuine psychological discomfort, not metaphorical discomfort, measurable stress. The brain is a prediction machine. Its primary job is to maintain a coherent model of who you are so it can predict what you'll do next. When your actions start consistently contradicting that model, the brain has to do one of two things: change the behavior or change the belief. Think of it like a boat with a slow leak. For a long time, you're bailing water, rationalizing, adjusting, making it work. But there's a threshold. Past that threshold, the cost of maintaining the old identity becomes higher than the cost of releasing it. And that's when it happens. Not gradually, suddenly. Psychologists call this a schema shift. The mental framework you've used to organize your sense of self gets restructured. From the outside, it looks like a person changed overnight. From the inside, it felt like years of quiet pressure finally finding a direction. So if you're in this, or heading toward it, here's what the psychology actually suggests. Step 1. Name the specific tension, not the general feeling. Vague discomfort stays vague, but the brain responds to specificity. Ask yourself, what exact behavior no longer feels like mine? Not, I feel lost, but I keep agreeing to things I resent, and I don't know why I still do it. Why this works? Naming activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-regulation and meaning-making. Labeling emotion, as neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman's research shows, reduces its intensity and makes it workable. Real life example. You're in a meeting. nodding along, and something inside you goes quiet and distant. Pause later. Write down the sentence that felt most dishonest. That sentence is data. Step 2. Stop treating continuity like a virtue. We're socially conditioned to reward consistency. She's so reliable. He never changes. But identity development research, particularly Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial growth, shows that healthy development requires periodic discontinuity. You are supposed to become someone your past self wouldn't fully recognize. Why this works? Releasing the obligation to stay consistent reduces what psychologists call identity foreclosure, the premature locking of the self into one fixed role. Real life example. You've described yourself as not a confrontational person for 10 years, but lately, silence feels like self-betrayal. That description was true then. It doesn't have to be the law now. Step 3. Follow low-level curiosity, not grand epiphanies. Big realizations are rare and often misleading. Curiosity, however, is quiet and consistent. Behavioral research on identity change shows that most meaningful shifts begin with micro-behaviors, small, almost inconsequential experiments with a different way of being. Why this works? The brain consolidates new identity through repeated novel behavior. Each time you act in a way that contradicts the old model, you're writing a new data point into your self-concept.
Real-life example. You've never thought of yourself as someone who creates things, but you've been sketching in the margins of notebooks. Follow that. Don't explain it yet. Just follow it. Step 4. Let people be confused by you. One of the most powerful psychological barriers to change is what researchers call self-presentation anxiety, the fear that becoming different will make you unrecognizable to the people who know you. But here's what's true. The people who matter most in your life are more adaptive than you're giving them credit for. And the ones who need you to stay the same to feel comfortable, that's worth noticing. Why this works. Social identity theory, developed by Henri Tajfel, shows that we partially construct the self through group membership. Changing means renegotiating some of those memberships. That's uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. Real life example. You stop laughing at a joke you used to find funny. Someone asks why you've changed. The honest answer is, because I have. That's enough. Step 5. Trust the lag. Change happens faster internally than it shows externally. There will be a period where you've already shifted inside, but the outside of your life hasn't caught up yet. Your environment still reflects the old version. The old patterns are still in the room. This lag is normal. It is not evidence that nothing has changed. Why this works. Neuroplasticity research confirms that behavioral change precedes the full structural reorganization of related neural pathways. The new wiring is forming. It just isn't visible yet. Real life example. You've stopped caring about something that used to consume you. An old rivalry, an old fear, but you're still surrounded by reminders of it. The dissonance isn't relapse, it's renovation. Okay. Section 6. Integration. Here's the simplest way to hold all of this. The brain isn't It's trying to make you coherent. Consistency is about staying the same. Coherence is about making sense across time, even when the chapters feel different. You don't have to be the same person you were. You just have to be a person whose changes you can understand. And understanding comes not from having all the answers before you change, but from paying attention as you change. All right, Section 7. Quiet, empowering close. The people who seem like they changed overnight usually spent a long time in the quiet before it. In the middle of conversations that felt wrong, in rooms that felt too small, in versions of themselves they kept trying to believe were enough. And one day, without announcement, they simply stopped pretending. Not dramatically, not all at once, just
one honest moment at a time. If you're in that in-between space right now, neither fully who you were nor fully who you're becoming, that's not emptiness. That's how it feels right before something real takes shape.